You are one of the most influential people in fashion.
They were like, your job is to just make Revolve hot.
You set up that blueprint for like actually giving a brand a proper identity and a feeling.
Things come and go, but the true essence of who you are as a brand needs to always be the same.
Raissa Gerona, are you ready to dream bigger?
I mean, I am. It's like, it's the day to do it.
I love it. So you are one of the most influential people in fashion.
I am?
Yes. Hell yes. Are you kidding? Like I told you off air, I was like, you're a woman who IPO'd a business. Like I am honored to be having this conversation.
So, thank you so much. I needed this today. I was having like a, oh my gosh day, but thank you. I really, really appreciate that.
Of course. So talk to us about how you started your career, because I think, you know, someone sees someone like yourself, you are incredibly successful, this like magnetic, confident woman. Where did you start?
Well, one, I wasn't magnetic and confident when I started. I was like, this is hard. And it's still hard.
It still is.
It's still very hard. But, you know, it's about really like, I started so long ago, almost like 18 years ago in my career of like, I had my own clothing brand and kind of just did it on a whim. And I think that's one of the things about when you're younger, you just kind of want to take a risk and just go for it. And it's so important as you get older to try to keep that energy with you, because as you get older and you have more responsibilities and you're building all these different things, I think as humans, we just start to kind of like close in a little bit more because it gets scarier. The stakes are higher. And so thankfully, I didn't have that in my 20s. I started my own clothing brand, and my first big customer was Revolve. And this was like in 2007, like so long ago.
Wow, okay.
And that's how I got to know them. That's how I met Michael Mente, who's one of the co-founders and co-CEOs of Revolve. And sadly, I had to close my business during the height of the recession, which was like in 08, 09. I really didn't have any background whatsoever in fashion or business, and didn't even have any concept of raising money, what all that meant. And so I just like literally ran out of money and just closed the business. And Michael presented me with an opportunity to start a whole new clothing brand, because he was basically like, hey, you know, it's really sad that you had to close your business, but I'd love to do a brand with you. You seem to be really hardworking. I will fund the entire business, but I'm running Revolve. So you have to do everything. So you're already designing, but you have to do design, manufacture, figure out marketing and all those things. You good with that? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know, I'm 27, 28. And basically our first brand was Lovers and Friends.
Wow, I mean, that's like probably what one of your like top brands on Revolve?
Yeah, definitely.
I would think
like top
so, yeah.
5, I would say, till this day. And then we slowly built 2 other brands. One is called Tularosa, one is NBD. All 3 are still very much alive and well. And created an umbrella company called Alliance Apparel. And then in 2014, was officially acquired by Revolve. And so during that time when the acquisition was happening, again, didn't even know what any of this really like meant. They were like, okay, you were like a solid designer, but you are an even better marketer. You know, a lot of the things that I was doing to promote the brands that we had was really through bloggers. Like I started to reach out to, you know, like Ami Song and Julie Cernanov, Sincerely Jules, like just like these girls who had basically blogs. And this was, you know, right before Instagram launched. And we start to see a lot of traction through, you know, girls just wearing our clothes. And so when that was, again, like 2010, 2011, we started gifting for the first time, like this concept of just giving free stuff. Like now it's like a joke because like people just get stuff all the time. But 15 years ago, like people weren't giving out free clothes. And so I would just reach out to them, box the stuff, send it over. And again, started seeing a lot of traction and built these like baby brands. And so when the acquisition happened, Revolve asked me to just basically do marketing. And a lot of times in one's career, I think when you doubt yourself and you don't know what's what you're capable of, it's so nice to have someone or people to push you and believe in you. Because man, I was so worried that I didn't know, because I didn't go to marketing school, I didn't go to business school, I didn't go to fashion school. This was a whole other thing that I had to figure out. And because of Mike and Michael, Mike is the other co-founder and co-CEO. They were like, you can do it. Like, try it out. Like, your job is to just make Revolve hot.
So what do you think, what was it that had you stand out to them and made Michael even want to start a business with you? Because obviously there was something there that he saw like right from the beginning. And I asked this because I think a lot of people can learn from something like this, right?
Sure.
It's like you stood out. Why?
I think simply like my work ethic, honestly. And I said that like last week we had like a big we do these things once a year at Revolve where it's called like coffee chat, where employees can sign up and have like, an executive speak or whatever. And I told them like, one of the questions I had was like, how did you get to like this position and stuff? And I said like, it's so important to be open to trying new jobs within your job, because it allows for multiple things. One, it actually allows for you to see like, do I even actually like this job, or do I even like this other job that I've been tasked to do or volunteer to try on, right? And you're like learning like what you like and you don't like. And then I think the other thing that like it signals to your manager in this instance, like Michael was like, man, you are down to learn and you are down to work. And I think I still have that till this day. Actually, I sent a text to him yesterday. I'm going to read it to you guys. Because he was just like, I'm working so much, which I know we'll chat about. We have so many projects. But I said that I love the feeling that I'm operating at such a high level, and that my work ethic, experience, and track record is what sets me apart and will yield success no matter what. So at this point in my life, I know it's not like a if, but it's like a when. Just because I can do the work. I know it already. You know what I mean? And so 20 years ago or whatever, 17 years ago, I think he probably saw the same thing of like, okay, like she might not have the experience, but she's open to learning and she's open to doing the work. And when you have those two traits, you could do anything.
I couldn't agree more. And it's actually like what we look for when we hire at Array as well. It's like, are you curious? Are you willing to get your hands dirty?
Like roll up your sleeves.
Yes.
And also like the learning part, I think is also, again, just as important, because you might have a really, really strong work ethic, but you're closed-minded.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
So it's like, or vice versa. You might be like very open-minded, but you don't want to do the work.
Can't be one or the other.
No, but when you have both, like you really can like accomplish so much, because you're constantly like learning and wanting more and more and more, and like opening your mind more and more, and that's the best.
I also think that as people get more senior, I think they need to keep that open mind still. Like
Correct.
My head of marketing, I love her for this so much, because anytime she's given new data, she's not precious about like, oh, well, I just know that this is the right. It's like, no, we're very collaborative and we're like responding quickly if like something isn't working,
And you have to, especially now. I mean, you've obviously built such an incredible business. It's like everything moves so much faster. And I know like people say that all the time, but it's really true. And when your business is like also growing so fast, or like at Revolve, there's so many people that work there now. Like I think it's like 1,600 or 1,700 people.
Wow.
And to be able to still move like quickly is really challenging, because you have to like rally the troops truly, right? And like make sure like the idea and the vision is like, people understand it. And when they don't, like it's obviously even harder to make that transition or to move as fast as you want to move. And so I think being collaborative, like you said, and having someone just saying like, okay, like I can be down with this. Like this is a new idea, but it's like, well, let's try it. I think is so important.
I think also you strike me as someone who has always been kind of focused on like the long-term vision and the long-term gain. Like you've been in it for so long.
For so long. And it's a balance, especially now we are a publicly traded company. It's like you have to satisfy the investors for that quarter. And so even if you're having a bad quarter, and like it's like a basketball game. It's like your scores are public. Everyone knows what your scores are. You know what your results are. And so when you have a, not a solid quarter, and you see the price of the stock, like, is not as high as you want it to be, it can like really dampen the mood for everybody, right? But it's about finding the balance of like, what do we have to do right now and for the next quarter, but also knowing like what the long-term vision is. And that's very hard to balance, because you got to do the immediate work, but also always like doing the work for planting the seeds so that, 5, 6, 8, 9 quarters from now, you're like, I was already doing that, but the investors didn't know that I had all this shit in the work. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
And so it's a balancing act for sure.
How the hell did you IPO this business? Like you go, I mean, we're jumping around a lot, okay?
No,
but like, I mean, we're talking about this IPO, which like I want to stress to our listeners,
it's really hard.
It is so hard. It is such a big deal. It is like, and very few companies do it because and the thing is that the companies that do it, sometimes they'll do it and then they go to penny stock.
Yes.
And that's not, unfortunately, like a mark of success because you've done all the work, but then unfortunately it doesn't end up how you want it to end up.
Correct.
But you did it. Revolve is fucking crushing.
Thank you.
By the way, I mean, the amount, I just got a box from Forward and you guys have the best customer service. Like I am such a dedicated customer. No, like truly.
I think so too.
So talk to us about the IPO process.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess like to even like take it a few steps back, especially I'm sure there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening to your podcast, is that when you start a business and someone says, and it's going really well, I mean, you know this, and you're like, okay, the company's now worth, let's just say $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that the founders have $100 million.
Yeah.
It means like based on their how profitable the company is, their sales, and what the buying price for that business is, like that's how much it's worth. Nothing matters until you either sell it or you go public. And going public is basically like you can sell your portion of the business at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that point, when we were trying to figure out if we should sell the business or not, we ended up choosing to like, let's just go public, because Mike and Michael built Revolve in 2003 with always the mindset of like keeping it or owning it for forever. Mm-hmm. I think if they could own it forever, they would. And I think that mindset is also so admirable because you're building it for the long term. You're not just building it for the next 5 to 7 years so that you can sell it. And by the way, like that's great too. It's just two different types of ways of business. And so when we decided to do the IPO route or go public, first of all, it's like a multi-year process. And I got chosen to go on the road. So basically going on the road is like, it's extremely strenuous. You're pitching all day, every day for weeks to investors to basically say, you want to buy the stock. Like this is going to be a hot stock. It's going to make you money. And we did that we started the process probably like 2016, 2017. And we actually didn't go public until 2019. But during this time, like it's the founders that go, the CFO, and then I got to go. And like when I tell people about going on the road as a once in a lifetime experience, it is because one, there's not that many companies that go public. It's like playing, the best way I can say it is I love sports. So I have a lot of sports analogy, but it's like playing in the Super Bowl and I'm like the quarterback. And I won a ring. You know what I mean? It's like,
yes, 1,000%.
Like we're champions.
Yes.
It's like this, like that's the feeling, and that's how rare and that's how hard it is. And like the journey to get there. And so for me, it was such a like insane like process because one, I didn't even think I was gonna go, but the bankers who basically represent you to go
mm-hmm.
public were like, you should go because people don't understand why Revolve like is successful.
Special sauce.
Exactly. That's exactly actually what they use, the words. And I was like, really? And so that was truly like my task was to explain to mostly white male financial like analysts and investors the concept of social media, the impact of influencers and why that was important, and why brand, the concept of just brand even. Again, now we like laugh about it because everybody's about aesthetic and brand and the feeling. Like people weren't even talking about that. Like that was my job was to just educate these people of like the secret sauce. Why were we doing these trips? Why were we working with influencers? Like what does that all mean, and why? And in turn, in a business, really calculating it on the business side, why we had mostly like free traffic, why our customer acquisition cost is quite low, and why we always had customers coming back. So in terms of like key metrics, those were how brand and what me and my team were doing translated to like the economics of the business. And they were all like really good numbers. But yeah, it was an absolute, it was one of the best and hardest things I've ever done. Top 3 like experiences of my life.
So, it's really interesting because what we say at Array is that everything that you do for brand is what allows for everything else to work. So of course, like I'm just like the foundation of a good business is a good product. Okay. So like, of course, your product has to be amazing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like, when we go like one step down, it's like brand. Because the thing is that if a company has no brand and they're just doing performance marketing, that's going to just go away.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
the performance marketing alone, like where you're just paying for ads, it doesn't do anything because people are like, who are you?
Exactly. And even like, that's why when Mike and Michael asked me like after the acquisition to do basically brand in this way, it's because they were like, we need to have something different than like an Amazon or a Shopbop or whatever. Because then after at the end of the day, it just becomes transactional.
Yes.
Right. And so as more businesses in retail and fashion, and for you, obviously for your product, there's just way more option. And so it's table stakes at this point to have an incredible product. It's table stakes to be able to ship something with confidence and know that you can return something. Like everyone's already doing that. So what are you? Like, who are you? And what's going to make someone come back? And like,
Totally.
you obviously figured that out.
Well, it's like, we think of it. And by the way, like, I have to say, like, you have been the blueprint. Okay. And I think I speak, like, I'm honestly speaking, I think for so many women who have come and built brands after you, that you set up that blueprint for like actually giving a brand a proper identity and a feeling, right?
It's a feeling.
And people, I think that, as people get more and more options, they want to be associated to brands that make them feel a certain way.
For sure. Absolutely.
It's just like not good enough to just be like, oh, I sell clothing. Okay, who are you?
Exactly. And that's what makes it so fun, but extremely challenging as well, is because you have to stand out and you have to constantly like give that feeling, over and over again, in a different way. And that's challenging, especially for, Revolve. We've been around for 23 years, so it's like, how do you continue to elevate? How do you continue to, it's this also balance of like, how do you continue to provide the same thing, but be different?
Yes. And actually,
like, tell me how.
No, but you're doing it.
Please tell me.
So I like, you guys have done a really good job at this. And because when you guys started, it was, you were doing all like you guys were really the pioneers of the creator, and the creator being at the center of a brand as well. Okay. Mm-hmm. But then what you guys started to do as well over time is you started to bring in these influential creators and just like personalities to then start their own brands.
Right.
Again, that was so genius because it was like an evolution, but still sticking to your roots. It wasn't like, oh, what the hell are they doing now? You know what I mean? It was still very you.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's, what I really spent my career on, at Revolve is like, of course, all the, like you said, creators and influencers and, that whole playbook of like the gifting, the events, the pictures, like the posting, like all of that. But it's also, it's like, who are the people that we can really build a brand with, and how can we continue? Again, ultimately, like my job is actually quite simple. It's like my job is to bring new people to Revolve and keep the ones that we have there already. It's quite simple.
Yeah.
And so when I think about it from a product perspective, it's like I want to be able to create brands with people who are highly influential, who have incredible taste and influence, of course, and just have them make product for the site, because again, it accomplishes those two things. It brings in new customers and it keeps the ones that are with us like excited about like, oh my God, there's Helsa, now there's Sophia Richie, now there's, today we announced a new brand called Halo with a designer named Dion Lee, who
the Australian one.
Yeah, Australian one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful brand.
Me too. I love that brand so much. And when we heard that it was, they weren't doing super well, we immediately like reached out and figured out. And so that's what I spend a lot of my time on is now that is like, how do we continue to build equity through, through these really incredible relationships that go beyond the post. It's product, it's the feeling of like, I'm getting something that I can't get anywhere else.
How are you selecting who you want to work with for things like this?
I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, we've gone through so many iterations of like, of an influencer who just has a really big following. But then, after kind of 3 or 4 years, like you realize like, okay, they don't really have like a huge like sense of style or also evolution. And, things like that. And so I've learned, so much, again, because I've been doing this for so long of like what it really takes for someone to be successful. And so there's different, obviously, metrics that we look at, whether it's following, conversion, all those things. But really, it's longevity too. It's very, very important. I keep using this word balance. I think it's my 3rd time I'm using it for like an analogy. But it is really hard to try to balance someone who's like hot now and like everyone's going to be into, but it's like, how are they going to be in 3 years?
Yeah.
Like, because it's extremely tedious, so much work, so much money to build a brand. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to just do something for 2 years. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like maybe a capsule or something like that, but nobody wants a capsule anymore. Everybody wants a brand. And it's like, well, what are you doing to make yourself like last longer than the 2, 3, 4, 5 year trajectory, right? And so it's a balancing act, and it's like you are taking a risk every single time.
You know what I think you guys have done, like on that note, has been so smart. So you guys obviously have certain brands who've like proven longevity. So Pia is like incredible tastemaker.
Yes.
I'm like that girl can sell me anything.
She was my first influencer. Like
how did you even know to take a bet on her?
So Pia has always been the coolest girl. And when I first came across her, she was working at Reformation. She maybe had 10 or 13,000 followers on Instagram. She had just moved, or maybe she was still in New York. And I was just like, dang, Pia's just like so cool. Like she's smoking cigarettes. She's like, has like, just has like these great outfits, amazing friends. She like just gets it, amazing taste. Mm-hmm. And just, I just remember just actually Emily Ratajkowski, like introducing us. And I just pitched her. I was like, hey, this is what I want to do. And I think like you can kill it. And she has been. So it's one of those things that like, again, it kind of like made sense. But every single time it's a risk. Because also like, I say this, like, I would love to date everyone before, because to me, making a brand is getting married.
Yes.
But sometimes I just don't date them long enough, or like we don't show our true colors in the dating phase, and we just get married and we're like, damn it, we got to get a divorce. It won't be my first either. But it's like, we got to keep going. And that's the other part of business. And like, honestly, life is just like, you will make mistakes. Not everything is going to be successful, but what you won't be successful at for sure, and no, it's a guarantee you're not going to be successful, is if you don't keep going and taking the risk. So like, I'm not going to beat myself up about like, I will at the moment. And sometimes it takes 2 months to be like, dang it, like we shouldn't have done that. That was such a waste of time, or we could have done this. We could have spent the money this way. But then you move on. And that's the thing. I think that in order to be a successful business, you do have to be comfortable with the idea of risk. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing? You're not innovating. It's not even fun anymore. No, because it's like, it's like
death. It's a slow death.
For sure. And that's why I always, again, like that's the one thing that like keeps me up at night, is just like, how do we continue to like, again, evolve and just be with the customers that have been with us for 23 years. I mean, they're in obviously their late 40s now. You know what I mean? How do we continue to make sure she feels still included and excited? But then how do we get someone who's 16, 17, 18 years old also shopping on the site? It's very, very difficult. And I never want to like, and I never have. I've never woken up being like, Well, we did it. We went public and we're doing this. It's like never.
No.
I'm always like
the next.
there's so much work to do.
Yep.
What are we not? Like everyone's moving slowly today. You know what I mean?
So you guys are a little too comfortable.
Yeah, no, too comfortable. Exactly. But I mean, it's a gift and a curse, but I never feel like that ever.
I think like there's, I mean, I have never yet to have met a successful person who's like, yeah, I've done it. Let me roll up my sleeves and just like relax. Like, I just think that when you have that drive in you, you just see like, okay, there's more. And like you have all these ideas and it's really, really exciting.
It's really exciting. And you got to surround yourself with people who are like that.
So
you might have one friend that's comfortable, but let me tell you, you don't want to have too many.
I agree. You
want to make sure you're around people that are like, are you working on this? Are you working on this? This could be your health.
Yes.
This could be your relationship.
Yes.
This could be your job. It's that. It's like really like making sure that you have people around you to keep you on your toes in the best way possible.
I couldn't agree more. So you know how you said that you've had customers like who have been with you for like 20 years, okay?
Yes.
I think you guys launching Forward was absolutely genius because it was like the next stage. And like I graduated from Revolve customer to Forward. Now I'm like, I shop on Forward like I would say 90% of the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me what was the last purchase?
Okay, well, it came in yesterday and I actually wore it to the studio. No, it came in day before. I wore it to the studio yesterday.
I'm like, did you get these Tom Ford glasses on Forward?
No, I did not actually.
And also not this Bottega jacket.
No, this was from Paris.
Okay, well, I'm fine. I'm like in this row bag.
But yesterday, I was wearing these pants from Wardrobe NYC.
Great.
They were Forward, and I got a Wardrobe NYC bodysuit as well.
Great.
I got a Helsa bodysuit. I got Totem pants, which I was actually almost going to wear today, but I wore this instead.
Great.
But yeah, you guys have done a really good job kind of following the customer through her life cycle. Talk to me about the decision to launch Forward and how, because the thing is as well, I think a good like brand founder and brand leader knows when to say yes and when to say no. And I think you guys were really strategic.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's a lot of some of the decisions are always not going to work out, but with Forward, it has. You know, we launched Forward in 2008 or 2009, and it was the idea of like, okay, and at that time, you know, you didn't have, it was so long ago, you didn't have like a lot of retailers and brands even online. And so it's just really giving access to customers to shop, you know, the Bottegas of the world. And so that was really the premise of that. And then also knowing that the customer will graduate from Revolve. Like we want when you have your first real paycheck and you want a Saint Laurent bag, we want you to think about purchasing it on Forward. And so that was always the thesis, and that continues to be true. And especially right now with the luxury market being, it's really tough. Forward is winning, and that's very, very exciting because I think that there's so many things that's working for Forward, knock on wood. Obviously the shipping and logistics
incredible
is amazing. And so that's great. And I think also, I mean, I'm biased, but I really do feel like Forward, the styling is just so on point.
Yes. And the curation, the shops, you guys make it easy.
Yes.
Like the styling is like,
you want the whole thing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
For sure. And thank you. And I feel like Forward came at a time when you had other, luxury retailers online, but they were catering to an older customer.
Yes.
It was kind of like the Neiman's and, old Barney's customers that, I think Forward was able to kind of get like the younger customer that has money, that wants to look sexy, that wants to shop, etc. And so I'm extremely happy about how that business is also transformed.
When did you decide that you wanted to bring Kendall Jenner in? Because again, another really smart move because, I feel like she's so relevant to so many people. She's incredibly well dressed. Like she's aspirational.
For sure.
And she's not like tired and old. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's very current.
Thank you. Okay. So that was in 2015. 2020, I think, when we started that conversation, and then we announced the partnership in 2021. And it was really that, like, again, how do we continue to set ourselves apart, not just from the competition, but really from one, like Revolve itself, and like, how does that, how that relationship between the two retailers is also really important. She has such a huge, massive audience. She's only going to get bigger, and she's consistently delivered like look. She delivers looks. She looks good getting gas. She looks good, like, you know what I mean? Like going, like, obviously on the show, she looks great at, like, I mean, everything that she does, she looks great. And so that, I think, is so, so important to work with anybody, is like, do people want to dress like her? And it's like, I don't care what you feel about Kendall. At the end of the day, like, you are looking at what bag she's carrying. You're looking at everything, what workout outfit she's wearing. Like, that's who she's become. And so we've worked with her for 4 years. She's fantastic. And she's just been such a inspiration to the customer, and so aspirational in the sense of, like, again, everybody kind of just ultimately wants to know, even if you might not buy the exact same thing, you're still really curious of what she's wearing.
1,000%. So I think, I mean, I said this earlier on in our conversation, I think you were really at the helm of understanding how to leverage creators. And I think as well, you probably have a knack for understanding what makes someone successful. So given everything that you know, what is your thesis for the creator economy?
It's really tough now. I think, in the beginning when we started, it was just kind of a free for all. And now it is still it's still a free for all, in a sense of, like, there's just so many creators. There's so many. With the rise of TikTok, when people that got on there very early on, they have millions of followers of just, like, doing funny random things, which is great. But it's really for a brand deciphering, like, who you want to work with. And now there's just, like, endless options. I almost feel like there's the demand is significantly lower than the supply. The supply being the creators, because as a creator, you are posting with the hope that a brand will notice you so that you get a brand deal. There's 2 ways to monetize, obviously, as a creator. One is, actually 3. So one is a brand, because they're just like a Revolve or an Array or whoever is like, okay, they speak like the language that I want to speak, aesthetically, all those things. Values wise, this is who I want to work with. The second, obviously, is like commission, if they're high converters, but not everybody is a high converter. And then the last, which I would say is like the most upper, like up here, is like to create a brand. And that in itself is just extremely hard. I mean, again, as someone that is doing it on a daily basis, like, it's really, really hard to find the right partners, trying to find the right funding, to even find the right product, right? And so it's just become really, really hard. And so now, I think, to be very successful, long gone the days, I think, again, when we started at Revolve, where it was like all about the following. It was like, how many followers this person has? How many impressions can we get from this person? Now it's like, it doesn't even matter, because you're not even sure if people are seeing this person's post who has 4 million followers. Maybe only 1% of the people are seeing the post. And so you're kind of, that doesn't matter as much anymore. And so it's been, and then obviously everyone's engagement is like primarily down. So it's just been like this weird, like turn upside down, literally, of creator economy, because you're just like, what's next? What's new? How do you monetize? What, like, literally, like, what are people going to be doing? Especially as brands like find more options. And I think options too, like, you're looking at now, like, artist, you're looking at, like, everyone's an influencer. I don't care what you say. Like, the chef is an influencer. Your dermatologist. Like, everyone is. It's true. Everyone is. And so you, as a fashion lifestyle, beauty influencer, now again, the supply and demand is no longer this. It's like this, where it's like the demand is lower and the supply is just so much higher. Yeah.
Okay. So then talk to me then about the Grandist, because this is I don't know how you're doing it, but you have.
Do I look older? I think I'm like literally.
No, I
need like literally the supplements. That's why I'm so happy.
That's why I brought you all of my busy girl favorites. But like, Tell us about it, because I think it's genius. I'm obviously on it.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And also, yeah, it means so much to me. Like really, like one DM and you were like, yes. As in taking the meeting with me.
Of course.
So I appreciate so much. No, so Grandist started really like 3 years ago with all these thoughts of like, wow, like Revolve's posts aren't getting seen anymore. And like, we can't even track people's engagement because everybody hides their likes. Like, what is going on? And really finding that like the connection and the community doesn't, not that it doesn't exist, but it's just significantly harder because of the algorithm. Like we're all at the mercy of the algorithm, not just the creator, but the brands too.
Yeah.
Like that's why for Revolve, it's like, how do we continue to, again, get new, like the same questions, new customers, make sure the old ones are seeing us. New customers, old ones are seeing us. And it's like, I don't know, because every single week, every other month, it changes, you know, like today it's like, make sure to put as many reels as possible because there's now a new reels tab. And then next month it could be like, you know what? We need to do more carousel posts.
Yeah. It's like it's changing drop of a hat.
Exactly. And so I think that there's a purpose for every single platform. I don't think it's like, oh, because you're going to be on Grandist or because you're on TikTok. I think every single platform has a purpose, just like when I think about how we communicate with our customers on Revolve. Like the content that we put out on our email is different from what we put on the app, to what we put on TikTok, to what we put on YouTube. It's just different because there's a different community on all of them. There's different eyeballs. And so the strategy shifts. And so with Grandist, that was really, again, the thesis was like, how do we just build something where there's not an algorithm? And if somebody has to pay, even if it's like $1 or $100, one, they know that like, this is someone that I really want to follow because she has something valuable to say. And that was the other thing that I really thought about is like, as much as I love being on Instagram and I love being on TikTok, obviously like sometimes I'm on YouTube to like find like a recipe or like, you know, how someone is doing something. I want to just find and connect with the people that I feel like has something to say that I'm going to learn from. And that's how it was born. And when I looked at like what's out there now, the competitive landscape, all the people that I've built relationships with, that I work with for the last, again, almost 20 years, it's going to be, there's not a home for them. You know what I mean? You want to be with like-minded people. You want to know that people that are of your like, that will go to the same kind of events as you, they use the exact same products, that use exact same brands, that shop on Revolve and Forward. You guys all want to be together, you know? And so that's when I was like, you know what? That doesn't exist yet. And my last thought was just seeing how my daughter interacted with content in a sense of like video games. Like she plays a lot of like apps on my phone and everything has a paywall. Like if she wants a new outfit or a hairstyle, you got to pay for it. And so I'm like, wow, the youth is being trained to basically consume content, whether it's a game. It's happening now, obviously on Twitch, where there's live streamers and gamers making millions of dollars from just streaming for 8 hours in a day.
Wow.
Right? Like this is like not, this is real. Like Heist, like all these people are making so much money because they're just playing games, right? Not just, but they're playing games and they're connecting with people and they're talking about their lives. And so I think that the last industry to make that shift, because you have people that are comedians, you have people that are writers on Substack, you have people that are doing podcasts, but the last kind of like big group of people who I think we were really the ones, not Revolve, but we as in the community of fashion, beauty, and lifestyle creators are the last ones to find kind of a home of like, okay, how do I put out content and get paid for each single thing that I put out? Because what I have to say and what I do is valuable, I think is so it's missing. And so I'm like, you know what? If someone were to do it, I think I could do it.
Yeah, 1,000%. Hell yeah, you can.
And so that's just what that's what I'm doing also. And so it's been such a, you know, incredibly hard in the sense of like, there's so much work. But it's also been so gratifying because the social currency that I've been able to build in my career and to be able to reach out to you, you know, like I said, like a DM takes 1 minute to do, but it's really like that track record and who you are and what people think about you when people say yes has just like been absolutely like touching to me, because it's just like, what, like, yeah, like people literally, everyone's like, yeah, no one has said no.
Well, okay, here's two things. So I had Ty Haney, she's the founder of Outdoor Voices, on the podcast the other day. And when she launched TYB, she reached out to me personally. And what I was saying to her, which I'm going to say to you as well, is I am always so impressed when a founder who is already successful, or like an executive who is already successful, who doesn't need to be doing this, decides that they want to do it because they know that that's what it takes to be successful. And when I got that DM from me, I'm like, I actually think that this is going to work because she's fucking hustling, you know?
Yeah, no, totally.
Like, you could have gotten an intern, but I was like, no. And
I'm doing every single call. I mean, when I tell you, like, everything, because one, like, I build like this small team, and again, like, I'm using similar, if not the exact same strategy as how I built Revolve.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I have done every single person's job on my team.
Yes.
Every single person. So when someone tells me like, oh, this is hard, I'm like, is it hard? Like, is it hard? I mean, I'm not saying like it's not hard, but I'm saying like, let's figure out a solution.
Totally.
And like, I feel for them in some ways, but also know that like, hey, if I can do it, you got this. You know what I mean? And so I want to, there's 3 people that work at Grandist, and I'm one of them. And so I want to continue to show, even just starting from the small group of like, this is what it takes to work, and I'm going to do all of your jobs, because when this gets bigger, then we can have these conversations of like, how do we find solutions? But if I've never done it,
for sure,
how am I even going to give you any advice? You know what I mean?
Like, I think it's really important for people who are starting a company to like know, like, have your boots on the ground and really understand, okay, like, what are the inner workings? If I didn't do every job that I did at Array, I don't think Array would be where it is. Like,
no,
I know my customer more than anyone.
And you should, and as you should. And so exactly. So I'm basically like, I'm building it exactly from that perspective. And then from a strategy perspective, it's like really starting with the people, again, that I feel like have something to say. I made like a list of like, I don't know, 68, 67 people of like, and again, the following, it's like, it's all varies. People who have 20 million to people who have 50,000, even smaller, of like, what do you have to offer?
Yes.
And I think like, those are the people that I want to like listen to, hear from, connect with, etc. And so it's been so fun. And I think, I think you'll be the exact same way, in a sense of like, as you continue to do Array, and who knows what the future will bring. If it's in you, you always just want to create, you always want to work. And I think it's like, again, I don't want to just be like pigeonholed to this one thing.
Yeah.
Especially as women, like, we have so much to offer, and we're literally like the best like I told you when we started this, I'm like, I just like made my daughter like breakfast. I packed her lunch, took her to the dentist. You know what I mean? All the things. And I'm like, I'm bodying today. And it's not even 10 a.m. Like, what time is it?
No, it's true.
It's just because we can do so much. And when you like love it, you just keep going.
I agree. Also, I will call out that the one thing that I am obsessed with that you guys implemented on the Grandist is the calls.
Yes.
Because it's like, I have never figured out how I wanted to do that, because I get DMs all the time, people being like, do you do mentorship? And I'm like,
or like, can you grab coffee with me? You're like, I just can't.
I like, literally, I wish I could. I really do. And that's why I started the podcast, because I was like, how can I help people without like physically meeting with every single person? But I love that the Grandist allows people to be able to do that.
Yes, you can schedule calls and one-on-ones, and then eventually we're gonna do like multiple calls. So you can do like, which I think will launch probably Q1, of like, if you want to do like a baby class,
like a group call.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
You know
so
what I
smart.
mean? And also being able to just say like, and I think too, if it's like the topic is, let's just say marketing, let's just call it with that. Like, then you can group people as well. And then if somebody wants one-on-one, you can do that. So that's like, again, what I wanted to do is just like connection, and like also just being able to learn whatever that means to you. And then and just making sure that you feel like everybody is seeing what you're posting and like it feels really good and safe.
Incredible. I think
Thank you
it's
so much.
genius. I'm so excited to be a part of it. And I believe in like the product, and I believe in you. Like,
oh my gosh, everyone has, again, Sif, everyone has said that, and I'm going to try not to, I'm going to hold back my tears, but everyone has been so supportive in that. They were like, if you're doing it, I'm going. And I'm like, okay. And now I'm like so amped in the best way possible of like, not that I was questioning it, but it's more like just like, anytime you have any more validation from peers, I'm like, okay, we're on to something, you know? So thank you again.
Of course. Honestly, I have audience questions, but we don't even have time to get through it.
Oh my God.
Oh, you know what? Let's do one.
Oh my God.
Let's do one.
How long has it been? It's like, oh my God.
It's been an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been 55 minutes.
I feel...
I know, it's like, it's so good. There's so much to talk about.
Is 55 the perfect time?
55, but let's do one audience question.
Yeah. Okay, maybe do two, and then I could do one. Will you cut one for me and do one on Grandist?
Yes, 1,000%. Okay. Actually, let's use this one for Grandist, I think.
Okay, do whatever.
Okay. What do you look for when you're hiring?
Well, okay. I feel like it's so hard because this is a funny answer, but I would say what I look for when hiring is, first and foremost, is just energy and vibe. Like, how are you coming to the interview? You know what I mean? Like, are you prepared? Oh, like, what are you, like, even the outfit, and like, it matters.
It does matter. It's how you're presenting yourself, honestly.
Of like how much you care.
Do you care? Exactly.
Do you want to be here? Do you care? Are you frazzled? Did you give yourself enough time? And of course it happens, an emergency, things like that. But like, all those things matter. Like, when did you show up? What are you wearing? All those things. How did you greet me? Like, etc. And then also people, when they have like good questions, I think is also really important. Again, they did the research. They took the time because they know that this is an important like job, that they want to really be here. And then obviously, like, depending on the experience, depending on the job experience, like, what have they been doing? And then I would say that's last, but it's also harder, we covered, is like your willingness to like learn and just do the job. And sometimes, or a lot of times, you don't know that until they get into the job. So every hire is a risk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter how many meetings you have, sometimes it takes me 5 or 6 interviews for a really, really, really big position and have multiple people interview them for them to be hired. But everyone's opinion also matters, because that person is going to be working with these types of, or these groups of people. And I would say though, I often know within the first 3 months, like, it's kind of like dating, like how long this is going to go for, because they start to show, again, like the willingness, like, are they okay to stay for a meeting? Can they come in? Like these, and then you're just, if it's a bunch of no's, you're like,
you're just not gonna, and you know what? I think
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and like, you know what? I'm sure there's another workplace that's perfect for that type of person with that kind of culture, but like
not here.
Like, we're the
what
same
do you
way.
look for?
Literally, very much the same. It's like, how do they gel with all the people that they're working with when they come in for an interview? What's your attitude? Because for us, we are extremely hardworking and we're kind.
Right.
So those are like two. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, and
what's your...
Yeah, like
totally.
If you come in and I get like weird mean girl vibes from you, it's an immediate no.
No, for sure. I mean, that's 1,000% something so huge for me too. I'm so happy you brought that up. Is like, 85% of the people that work at Revolve are women.
Yes.
And
same.
like, obviously for us to working with like creators, like, and talent, most of the people we work with are women. And so you need to be able to have this sense of like, zero mean girl energy, because it's just like, it's a non-starter.
Yeah. And also the thing is that I want to enjoy the people I work with. Like
1,000%.
I'm obsessed with our team. Like,
I love it. Me too.
It's the best feeling ever. Like, to go to work and I'm like, what a fucking joy it is.
A joy. And that's what it should be, because we spend so much time at work with these people that we work with, that like, it should be fun and exciting. You want to know what they did over the weekend.
Yes.
Maybe you even go out like once in a while together. I think like that is so important.
I agree. And I know that you guys have built obviously such a strong culture at Revolve. I mean, I'm friends with Coco Justine.
Yes.
And she was with you guys for so long, you know?
I love Coco. Like, she's literally and we're still friends till this day.
Right. And that is, to me, like, sign of a really healthy culture. It's like people don't leave.
No.
Like, they are there for an eternity.
It literally forever. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're the same. Like, our first employee is still with us.
That's
like,
the
she's
best.
like my sister, you know? Like,
for sure.
And
you're in the trenches together.
Exactly. And also, my God, bringing on someone new and like retraining them. I'm like, I do not want to go through this. I'd rather just hire the right person, take a little bit longer.
For sure.
And make sure they're the fit.
For sure. Couldn't agree more.
Okay. And then the last question that we have time for is, what are your tips for building a brand with longevity?
Oh my gosh, that's a whole episode. Okay. What are my tips for building a brand for longevity? Okay. I would say first is, obviously we covered this and I don't want to go into it, but really having like the best product. Yeah. Always, like, because marketing and brand can only take you so far if you don't have the best product. And also being obsessed about the product, because it could evolve, it can change, or like, okay, 3 years, we have to probably change something, whatever, right? So really also being hyper focused and hyper vigilant on having the best product. And then in terms of brand, I feel like having brand pillars that withstand time and trend. You know, when you think about some of the best brands ever, you know, like Nike or Apple, it's really about like design and the feeling of having something, you know, like I remember getting my first, you know, iPhone and what that felt like, or being part of just of like Apple and like Nike. For Revolve, it was like always this feeling of having fun and doing it with the people that you really love. And, you know, in a way,
looking hot while doing it.
Yeah, looking hot, but like really just like living your best life.
Yeah.
And I think like that, the essence of the brand should transcend over time. We've been around for 23 years. I've been working on the brand and building it for the last 13. And I think that those attributes will never go out of style. And that's crucial. Whether it's a new platform like a TikTok or even a Grandist, it should always be able to transfer whatever that brand message and feeling is, no matter what. And no matter what age group, you know, I think having fun, living your best life, doing it, you know, in the best outfits and stuff, I don't care how old you are.
Agree.
And so I think, again, it transcends time, it transcends age. And for me, I always want it to feel like positive and uplifting. Like that's always how I thought about Revolve. Like you can't like hate on partying or travel. Like it's just like weird to me. You know what I mean? And living your best life could now include having your dream job, going to your Pilates class, getting a green juice. Like all of these things is like your best self. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I would say is like try to focus in on like what you're really about versus like, you know, changing what you're about based on what you're doing for the season or for the year or for the next 3 years, because things come and go, but the true essence of who you are as a brand needs to always be the same.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I'm going to do one more because I think it's an important one. How do you balance having this career with motherhood?
It's really hard to be, I mean, I'm a single mom in a sense, because me and my ex-husband are divorced, but he's an incredible father. We co-parent extremely well. So I'm very, very happy about that. But when I have my daughter, I'm solo. I mean, I have a nanny who helps us out, but I'm by myself. And it's really hard because your time is so important and you're being pulled so many different directions. But just like anything, I do think in the midst of a lot of chaos, you start to actually do the opposite and you really zero in on the things that are the most important. And so for me, it's Dylan, it's my family, it's me, Dylan, because I feel like I got to make sure I'm taken care of, because if I'm not well, then it's really hard for me to manage all these things. So I got to be like mentally, emotionally, physically as sound as possible. And sometimes one of those things are up to par. So it's, me, it's Dylan, it's my family, friends, and it's work. But with Dylan, she always wants as much time as possible. Of course, just like work wants as much time as possible. But it's important for me to explain to her and show her like, hey, like we compromise. Everything it is a compromise. I can't pick her up from school every day. She wants me to, she begs me to, but I'm like, I just can't. I can pick you up twice a week. And so I carve out the, Monday and Friday to pick her up in my schedule. It's in there, 3:30 to 4:30, pick up Dylan, don't schedule anything. And obviously I've worked very, very hard to be able to do that. And I understand like not all moms are able to do that. But I've put in my time and so I'm able to. And then there's other times when she doesn't want me to travel and all these things. But I have sat her down and continue to say, hey, mom has a job. But the other thing that I think is so important is I tell her, not only do I have a job, but I love my job. I love it so much. And I hope that when you grow up, that you also have a job that you love. Because I don't want her to think that I'm just going to a job and I'm miserable at my job. I want her to know that I go and I do it for us and my family, but I do it for myself because I love it so much and I'm fucking good at it. I tell her that. I'm very good at my job. Like, I let her know.
As you should. That
what
builds
time it
confidence.
is, you know what I mean? But also I want her to understand that like I am, even though it's time away from her and like I love her so much and all I want to do is spend time with her, I'm doing it with something that I also love, so that she can respect that like, oh my gosh, my mom is away, but like she's also like, she misses me, but like she loves her job too. And I think as women, it's important to be able to say that. And if you don't love your job, that's a very, very tough conversation, So I feel incredibly lucky. I'm so, so, so lucky that I can say those things, block off the, the pickup time and say that with confidence. But it's hard and not everything is always going to be exactly how you pictured. But again, as women, we're such crazy multitaskers. We're also just naturally born caretakers that all we want to do is take care. But I think putting yourself first to make sure you're able to take care of everybody else, I would say is so essential. And then having those conversations with your child about like what's important and how much you love them is also equally as important.
I mean, I feel like I could keep talking to you for an eternity. You're so, so inspiring.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so happy you were able to do this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Are you kidding? It was so much fun.
This is so fun. And I'm just so happy. I remember meeting you 2 years ago at a Girls Inc. event. And you were the perfect example of someone just coming up to me and not having any weird girl energy and just saying like, hey, I know my name is Sif. I know I have a brand. And I just was like, amazing. I just remember meeting you and also seeing the brand explode and also then being able to, reach back out. And like, that's really like what this is about is like, not being afraid to go up to somebody, giving them the love or whatever you want to do. And then in return, like it's like this amazing cycle of just like, how do we continue to support each other? So thank you for having me and congrats on all the success.
Thank you. And tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, I'm like, just at Raissa Gerona on Instagram. Let's keep it simple.
Amazing.
Thank
Love
you
it.
so much.
Of course. Thank you for coming on.
I'm so happy to be here.